Today's the 17th of April, and my upload this evening is with regard to the ongoing issues that the relevant establishments and agencies have been made aware of since 2017, and how a collective of offenders have disrespected the Constitution and have disrespected justice and have disrespected the Declaration of Human Rights. As a qualified educator that hasn't ever incurred any black mark on my track record, the circumstances I'm experiencing are quite shocking. As I keep mentioning in my uploads, my qualifications are quite varied. Photography, art and design, education, humanitarian work, languages, recovery work, addiction studies, very varied interests, and successful in all of them. There's the matter that I have been experiencing as a new mother of royal patronage, that culprits in a community are hindering and hurting, and that are halting progress with regard to the developments that have been made in society since I spiritually cleansed a community that had far-reaching effects between 2017 and 2018. There are individuals, the culprits, that were also guilty of revenge porn, and that's quite serious, between 2006 and the present date. For any sexual assault survivor to recover is fantastic. For peace and forbearance from the occurrence of sexual assault to also occur due to recovery work is also quite fantastic, and that's also in my experience. But the issue of the individuals guilty of revenge porn that caused damages, harms and losses, economic loss, reputational loss, professional loss, between 2006 and the present date, are still causing problems in society, and they're still assisted and still tolerated. It's quite disgusting when adults, mature adults, make awful aspersions about a woman that has experienced sexual assault. There have been very ignorant opinions that are deplorable, that I have had the experience of hearing, of very low-minded, poor-minded individuals. For any adults in education that are guilty of publicizing revenge porn, which is the case in this situation, and to be claiming propriety in their work and their affairs, is very concerning, especially when they are also responsible for falsifying facts and information regarding present circumstances of the unlawful care order of my child. These individuals, since 2006, have absolutely no right to discuss me. Since 2006, they have hindered my profession as an educator, and they have disrupted the work environment since 2006 in my work profession position. So since 2006 and my work experience since, these individuals have been violating whistleblower protection laws. The issue of these professionals, as they consider themselves, that have not any lawful right to protect themselves by any means, as guilty offenders against the state and as culprits of hate crime, are repeat offenders that have climbed up a ladder of professions and powers and positions to obstruct and to cause further offence against my good name. They have involved themselves in my child's upbringing since 2017, and they caused him demonstrable damage. That damage is common knowledge, and that commenced in 2016. So these individuals have been spiritually vile, knowing that my body was of a universal light worker and that my light body contained very powerful spiritual gifts and blessings and light fragments that they utilized and damaged for ill purposes and ill gains. The relevant establishments are fully aware of the facts, and they are fully aware of the damages. As a qualified educator, married mother, whose child in January 2017 was unlawfully separated from her, and whose ombudsman procedures were ignored. This situation is very concerning. The individuals that are falsifying documentation with regard to the emergency care order are currently preying on my privacy, and since 2006 they have no right to even so much as discuss me, and as a recovery advocate they certainly don't have any remit or right to breach confidentiality or anonymity. So the list of offences that I've experienced as a law-abiding citizen of royal patronage is quite astounding, that any self-respecting professionals would ever support. The issue of doctors in this matter, and the issue of forgery and fraudulence of guilty culprits that have damaged my bodily integrity and that have damaged my child's bodily integrity, are also matters of concern. The doctors involved since 2016 have ignored health issues and have breached confidentiality and have withheld next of kin information. The relevant agencies are aware. So this issue is ongoing. I'm in social housing. I'm a proprietor of 2 farm holdings and a lot more. My farm holdings of my marriage and my ancestry, where the culprits conducted spiritual violence and where they conducted harms against my son, is an issue that I am still seeking to be addressed. So as a woman that has had an impact on legislative, societal and spiritual social developments, this is abhorrent that the individuals that have not been adhering to policies or procedures are still being tolerated. My home, my marital home, is in Tobernamult, and my work with the department was on my farm holdings. I've worked for 3 departments. I'm automatically provided with the protection that is associated with being in those positions. My royal patronage of my mother and I and my ancestors is being assaulted. That's very serious when ancestry is disrespected and when people think they're going to rewrite the records. I have a huge concern about identity theft. As my mother's ancestors were also farm holders, I'd say they're turning in their graves. So I come from substantial property and I'm in social housing. I'm a law-abiding citizen and I'm an educator, and I am a universal light worker tolerating vile behaviours in society. My history is quite interesting. My ancestral history is really interesting, and there are people disrespecting my ancestry. There's also people insulting my good work and trying to rewrite the script with what has occurred in this community since 2016. The spiritual practices that I have cleansed from a community was a tough job. It was quite tough. And the ignorance of individuals trying to cover up from their bad behaviours with further offences against women and children's rights is a huge concern. So I'm just raising the same issues as I've raised for the past 3 years. And the pertinent issue is the issue of my correspondence being interfered with. My correspondence has been withheld from me. There's been information withheld from me. And there have been doctors damaging my health and my child since 2016. There are individuals on my farm holdings and laying claim to work that they have no right to. So the spiritual cleansing was quite exhausting and dangerous, but beneficial far and wide. And there have been many people reap the benefits of my good work, and I am being insulted and offended still in my hometown and country in